Okay, so let's talk about word equations. So the first step in writing a chemical equation is to identify the facts to be represented. A word equation is an equation in which the reactants and products in a chemical reaction are represented by words. A word equation is qualitative. And we know qualitative, we're not going to use any numbers. So, an example, methane plus oxygen will produce carbon dioxide and water. And we'll do a few more examples on the next page. So it says, write word equations for the following reactions. Okay, so we look here. So we have solid, ammonium dichromate, and since we only have one reactant here, we have a decomposition reaction. So I'm going to say decomposes, or you could say break down, or if you wanted to, just say produces because we're going to the product side. So I'll say decomposes into nitrogen gas, and we see nitrogen is N2. Remember our diatomic molecules. We have the halogens, F2, Cl2, Br2, I2, O2, and H2, besides N2. So, into nitrogen gas, solid, chromium oxide, and if you wanted to say gaseous water, you can, but we could also say water vapor. Now the next one, we have aqueous, barium chloride, and we'll say it reacts with sodium chromate. And since we're at our breaking point to go from reactants to products, I'm going to say to produce solid barium chromate, and aqueous sodium chloride. And don't forget here we have aqueous sodium chromate here. So aqueous in here. And that's how we write word equations. We're going to go one step further now and start talking about skeleton equations or formula equations. So the next step in writing a correct chemical equation is to replace the names of the reactants and products with appropriate symbols and formulas. So a skeleton or formula equation represents the reactants and products of a chemical reaction by their symbols or formulas. So the formula equation for the reaction of methane and oxygen is as follows. So we see our reactants are methane and oxygen gas, and our products are carbon dioxide and water. So a few examples here. So heating copper 2 sulfate. So we know copper 2 sulfate, CuSO4, in the presence of diatomic oxygen, so plus O2, produces pure copper, Cu, and sulfur trioxide gas. And the last one, when heated, baking soda, which is sodium, hydrogen, carbonate, decomposes. So we have our arrow now. It's going to break down to form the products: sodium carbonate, carbon dioxide, and water. And that concludes our video on word and skeleton equations.